As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American,
Hello. How you guys doing tonight? Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Got to spend time with family, as of course family is the most important thing at this time of year, especially with everything happening in the world. You don't know when your family's you're not going to be there. You're not going to be there for your family at this point. Craziness unfolding, of course, across the Middle East. Day by day. Literally, every time I turn around, it's just something new. It's sad. Watching this all unfold, though, of course, we have to be thankful for what we do have. We have each other. We have a great nation still at this point. Hello, Pam. Hello, Nana. Hello, Richard. Hello, Debbie Martin. Hello, Debbie Rogers. We are definitely truly blessed and thankful for you guys being here and thankful for you guys being part of the channel. Ireland is unreal. Everything's unreal right now. I mean, even what's happened here. Protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters, disrupting the Macy's Day Parade to the point where police had to arrest 34 of them. I mean, you can't even celebrate the regular holidays here in America anymore without devastation and deceit. It's pretty sad as we watch what's unfolding. I mean, day by day, problems are growing here. As we're watching, of course, we were watching the parade yesterday and watched that unfold. It's ridiculous. People can't even allow America to celebrate a day that is definitely a day of showing thanks, showing the goodness, showing the greatness. Of course, the Rainbow Bridge incident that happened, of course, a lot of people were first speculating it was terrorists, which we know it wasn't. The victims in the Niagara Falls border bridge at Rainbow Bridge crash identified as Western New York and couple. Of course, the two couples, when their luxury car crashed into the border checkpoint and exploded in a fiery wreck, husband and wife, whose family owns lumber businesses and several hardware stores in the Buffalo area. They've been generational. The investigation into what caused the 2022 Bentley flying through to race through the intersection and hit a low median, which of course I've talked to Nana about this. If you guys ever been there, there's a low median that actually goes where you can loop back before going to the border crossing, where it actually puts you back in the United States. There's a dividing wall that comes up basically out of the ground where it divides the road away. And that's what actually looks like happened, is the car caught that. The lady, instead of hitting the brakes, hit the gas by accident. I mean, nobody's going to take a 2022 Bentley as a terrorist vehicle. Let's just be honest with that. But watching this unfold, of course, and everybody saying at first, thinking it was terrorism, this was a true tragedy. These two 53-year-olds died in an accident, a true tragic accident. We got to just be there or try to be there for their families. I mean, it's a truly devastating event. But I hate hearing that it's a terrorist activity. It was terrorism. That's all people wanted to talk about when it first happened. Nobody talking about what's really happening. Amongst that, I mean, then we have this issue. I'm sure if you have kids, you already know the Wannaban brand applesauce that comes in the packets that is still on the shelves. Still on the shelves. I got to talk about this because it's still on the shelves. With lead tainted applesauce is sickening more kids across the United States. New guidelines proposing limits in lead in food won't even be finalized until 2025 at this point. I mean, this is crazy. We have lead in our applesauce that we are feeding our children. It's the Wana brand, or Wana Banan brand. No sugar added, pouches. It's supposed to be kosher. It's apple cinnamon flavored. 2.5 ounce pouches, which is ridiculous. I mean, last spring when they discovered it, had this problem, the FDA started moving. Still didn't pull it off shelves to this day, and kids are still getting sick on it. Lead in our food supply, not just our food supply, and our food supply that is given to children and babies. This is a very pureed applesauce that comes in a pouch. And a lot of parents give it to their kids because it's easy. Of course, the first people that were having problems with it thought that the children have allergies to applesauce. That's what they thought was happening. You see this product sold at one sample purchase, or a product that was purchased at Dollar Tree was tested, contained 200 times more lead than the proposed guidelines from the agency. That the proposed guidelines that the agency is going to put in place would even allow. This is crazy. Happening here in America. In a first world country. I mean, I'm going to put the brand name in chat so you guys know. But people need to be paying attention to this because people are feeding their children this still. And children are getting sick to date. Children are still getting sick. And yeah, we can say, oh, well, parents should pay more attention and parents should do this, parents should do that. That's not the parents' problem at this point. Our government needs to step in and do something. No, our government's too busy. The Pentagon can't even keep track of money. $1.9 trillion in missing assets come up yesterday morning. And their audits, they decided to release the information Thanksgiving morning. So nobody even questions what's happening. $1.9 trillion in missing assets. Of course, the Pentagon's begging for more money constantly. But this signals a swift change needs to happen. Not an urge for more money, but for more reform. Government cannot be just spending money and not even knowing where it's going at this point. The incompetency that we're seeing from our government that is undermining and crippling America's national security is ridiculous. This is crazy. This unfolding, and of course, the information being released when nobody's paying attention to the news. They thought the money was missing. The audit finally got finished early this week. But reflecting the just disastrous accounting of American tax dollars, showing that even the supposedly greatest intelligence department in the globe can't even keep track of freaking pennies. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, I don't know if you guys know, but multiple bases have been attacked over the last 24 hours. In fact, 4 bases were attacked within hours of each other. U.S. forces were attacked 4 times in Iraq, Syria yesterday with rockets and drones. No casualties are being reported at this point. I'm going to say that very strictly reported. None have been reported to the public yet. But it did cause damage to infrastructure. We know that for sure. We know that this all happened within hours of each other, these 4 attacks, amongst 2 different sites. I mean, multiple rockets, one-way attack drones, hitting American bases abroad. This is just crazy. What's our government's goal? Or what did our government do? Absolutely nothing, retaliation wise. In fact, we might just send more money. That's, of course, fixed for everything at this point. Send money to foreign countries and NATO nations. Meanwhile, hundreds of German police have raided properties of supposable Hamas supporters or people that were pro-Palestinian. Let's just say they're pro-Palestinian because that's what they were. Hundreds of German police raided properties of all these pro-Palestinian people within Berlin and across the country. They're doing something to secure their country. If they're pro-Hamas or family members of Hamas or they know somebody in Hamas, they should be checking them out. We should be checking them out here. No, we're letting them in through our southern border. We don't even care about their name or identity. We're just letting them in our country. Much less the people that are already here that we know are supporters. This is crazy. Government should be taking a play out of Germany's playbook or a page at this point. People need to be checked out, especially if they're foreign nationals living in America, like these foreign nationals living in Germany. Germany's domestic intelligence service estimated that Hamas has around 450 members in their country. So they did a massive raid, not just on the 450 known members that they estimated, but of anybody that expressed sympathy and propagandist activities to finance or fundraise activities to strengthen the organization abroad. Anybody. And that's what should happen. Oh, yeah. They're giving money to rebuild Ukraine. No, they're buying Ukraine. Just a matter of time. They want a war to keep going, and that's what's going to happen. But we're watching what's happening around the globe as we watch other NATO nations, of course, stepping in, investigating within their countries, protecting their citizens. While here in America, we let them run rampant. We let people cross our border with no questions asked. Asylum seek. Oh, you're here to seek an asylum? Okay, here's a court date. Make sure you show up for that. We're not going to keep track of you. We don't want your names. We don't want your fingerprints. We don't want any information on you. You can just give us whatever you want. If you don't want to give it to us, whatever. Crazy. If you don't show up for your court date, we don't know who you were for real, so we're just hoping you do. If you don't show up for your court date, you're just going to be another illegal immigrant within the United States that will shelter you and house you no matter what. It's crazy. This is the America we live in now. When we can see foreign nations that we would never in a million years think they're doing what they're doing now in order to protect their citizens, and we're doing nothing. Absolutely nothing to protect our own citizens. I mean, Hamas has been designated a terrorist group since 1997 in the United States. That's when the United States Department or U.S. State Department decided they're designated Hamas as a terrorist group. But yet we're not keeping track of them. We're not finding out what's happening with every single one of them. No, they're just watching them. Just watching the groups gather more Americans, brainwash our children. And we wonder why we see children in the street protesting for pro-Palestinian reasons. They don't even know that, these are supposedly woke individuals, but they're protesting for pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine. And these people are gay or bisexual. It doesn't matter. The problem is they're protesting for a cause that would kill them if they could. And that's something they don't even understand because we're not teaching our children. Yes, it's sad what's happening in Gaza with the citizens there, as Gaza has become a moonscape in the war that's unfolding. And when the battle stops, it'll probably remain uninhabitable because the amount of damage that's already done to Gaza, the destruction of whole neighborhoods have been erased. Homes, schools, hospitals are blasted by airstrikes, scorched by tank fire. Some buildings are still standing, but most are battered with shells. Nearly 1 million Palestinians had fled north, including into urban city centers in Gaza, as the ground combat is intensifying. Yes, there's a ceasefire today where there was some people exchanged. The first swap of hostages and prisoners. 24 hostages that were held captive for weeks in Gaza got released. But Israel freed 39 Palestinians from prison. So we got 24 hostages back, and then Israel released 39 Palestinians from prison. And of course, I'm guessing these are Hamas members. Guaranteed they are. Known Hamas members got sent into Gaza for 24. Not an even trade, not even near that. It's crazy. And this is supposed to quell the problems? It's problematic. The land's destroyed. The people have nowhere to go in the long run, Palestinians, anyways. And it's just getting started. We're watching China, of course, stepping on the edge of everything they can do, even after the meeting with Biden. It's sad. Ukraine said they're doing so well. Of course, Ukraine said they aimed a major air defense or major drone attack at Crimea as Russia was trying to capture and, of course, destroy smaller cities. Ukraine launched one of its biggest drone attacks on Moscow's annexed Crimea Peninsula since the start of the full-scale war 21 months ago. But no mention of any damages or casualties whatsoever in the Crimea Peninsula. Meanwhile, Russia didn't retaliate. The Kremlin forces escalated their weeks-long costly attempt to storm Akadivka, which is a city, which is strategically important in eastern Ukraine. And Russia is taking that city. That's not a question. As winter weather is setting in and snow and freezing temperatures in the battlefield, Russia is ready for this. This is what Russia is built for, is winter war. And Moscow is, of course, stepping up their attacks, saying that they shot down everything that went towards Gaza, or towards Crimea, sorry. So many fighting areas in the world, I can't even keep them straight. Russian Air Defense Minister said they downed 13 Ukrainian drones that were heading to Crimea and 3 more over southern Russian regions. So this is Crimea's, or Kiev's big attack on Crimea. A total of 16 drones and some missiles. Russia sends that in a single attack without even calling it an attack. That was a minor skirmish. So Ukraine saying Ukraine's winning this war and doing so well is just ridiculous. We know at first light, after, of course, this attack happened, Russia decided to send a cluster bomb. One cluster bomb. We know 3 civilians were killed. Not any reports on how many Russian or Ukrainian soldiers were killed. But of course, more than 60 residential and infrastructure buildings were damaged in this single attack. The type of bomb that was used, of course, is a cluster munitions, which is a bomb that opens in the air and releases bomblets across a widespread area that both Ukraine and Russia have been using. Whether we call them a weapon that should not be used in war or not, that's a whole nother question. You can say it's a war crime, Russia's using them, but Ukraine's using the same thing. So really, you can't toss one without the other. But watching this happen, Russia managed to massively damage the city they're going to be taking. Over 60 buildings, like I said, and infrastructure damaged in this daylight attack after Ukraine tried to take or attack Crimea directly, which no damage has been reported at all, even from the Ukrainian intelligence side. This is crazy. The military industrial complex is lying of what's actually happening on the front lines of this war. We know that there's been heavy fighting. Ukrainian troops, of course, saying that they gained multiple bridgeheads on Russian-held southern side of the river, but now Russia's taking a city that is way on the other side of the river, of course, on their side of the river. It's craziness. Absolutely crazy. I don't know why we got ourselves involved in Ukraine. All I can say is, I bet you it has something to do with Burisma. That's all I can say at this point. But watching all this unfold, I mean, just over, of course, the last 24 hours, between the Pentagon stating they're missing $1.9 trillion in assets, to protest in our streets, damage to our military bases. We don't know how many soldiers are actually injured at this point. They're not claiming any, but we know, of course, the American government can't tell the American people the truth about anything. I mean, we can go back and even state that NATO was formed to stop Russia. That's not why it was formed. NATO was formed to stop Germany from rebuilding. And then they wouldn't let Russia in. And in the long run, we took in Western Germany into NATO and then all of Germany into NATO. It's just ridiculous. All of this garbage that they feed the American people. People don't even know the truth anymore. It's hard to say because media is the worst of them. Feeding, of course, on this. But God bless you guys. Thank you for being here tonight. Please share out the stream so people can watch this and understand what's unfolding in the real world. But the truth is that people need to know. People need to understand what's unfolding. Of course, and if you have time or if you have money to afford to buy a gift for a child, please do. The link is on the bottom of the chat and the pinned comment. Go to the Amazon list, or you can donate money if you wish, if you have it available. I know people are having problems. God bless you guys. God bless America. And stand up for your freedoms. Stand up for your rights. They are coming after them. And we'll be talking more about that tomorrow night. But God bless you guys. Till then, be safe, be sound, and be prepared. God bless you. God bless America. Good night.